Man, you ever walk into a place feeling like you belong, only to have the whole world turn on you in a heartbeat? That's what happened to me, Lena Carter, and my boyfriend, Mike Reynolds, one crisp fall day at the Willow Creek Mall in Maryland. We were just trying to buy a damn necklace, a little treat after months of grinding at work, but what started as a chill Saturday turned into a nightmare that'd make your blood run cold. We'd been saving up, me working late nights as a DEA analyst, tracking drug cartels, and Mike pulling crazy shifts with the U.S. Marshals, guarding folks whose names he couldn't even whisper to me. That mall was our escape, a chance to feel normal, to laugh at overpriced candles and sip overpriced coffee. I spotted this sapphire necklace in the jewelry store window, simple but stunning, the kind of thing that'd make my sister's wedding photos pop. $800, a stretch, but we'd earned it. Mike grinned, said, "Go for it. Lena, you deserve to shine." So I walked in, all smiles, ready to make it mine. Then it all went sideways. The second I pulled out cash crisp bills straight from the bank, 3 security guards swarmed us like we were robbing the place. Stepped back from the counter. One growled, "This guy with a badge reading J. Carter, no relation, thank God." Another grabbed my wrist as I reached for the display case, and a third started radioing like we were on America's Most Wanted. The salesgirl, Emily, froze, her eyes wide, clutching the necklace like it was evidence in a murder trial. Mike stayed calm, but I saw his jaw tighten, that martial instinct kicking in. "What's the problem?" he asked, voice steady, but they weren't hearing it. "Counterfeit bills, Jay." Carter snapped, eyeing the cash like it was a bomb. "Now, I'm no rookie, I know a shakedown when I see one." This wasn't about fake money. It was about us, a black couple daring to shop somewhere fancy. I felt that familiar burn in my chest, the kind you get when someone assumes you don't belong. "These bills are real," I said, slow and deliberate, "straight from Chesapeake Bank this morning." "But Jay." Carter wasn't listening. He was already calling for backup, saying some nonsense about sophisticated fraud rings. The subtext? We didn't look like we could afford it. Emily stammered, "They're just customers." "But Jay." Carter shut her down. "Stay out of this, ma'am." That's when I noticed him, Victor Ramsey, standing outside the store, watching us like a hawk. I'd seen his face in DEA files, a slick businessman running a chain of security firms that doubled as fronts for moving product. My heart sank. This wasn't just profiling. This was a setup. Mike caught my look, his eyes asking, "You seeing this?" I nodded, barely, because Ramsey wasn't just some random creep, was the guy I'd been chasing for months, the one slipping through every DA net. Things escalated fast. Jay. Carter demanded our IDs, claiming we were wanted for stealing federal evidence. My blood boiled. Stealing evidence? Me, who'd spent years building airtight cases. Mike stepped in, cool as ice. "Are we detained, or are we free to go?" "Jay." Carter fumbled, muttering about procedure, but then his radio crackled with a voice I'll never forget. "Detain them immediately. They're armed and dangerous." Armed. We were shopping, not storming Fort Knox. That's when Emily, bless her, spoke up. "This is wrong theory, just buying a necklace." Her voice shook, but she stood her ground, and I swear, in that moment, I saw a spark of courage I didn't expect from a college kid working retail. But before we could thank her, a new guy walked in calling himself Agent Harris, FBI, except his badge looked off, and Mike, with his marshal's eye, clocked it instantly. "Fake," he whispered. Harris, or whatever his name was, pulled out a Devisea detonator and said, "Everyone stays calm, or this mall goes up in flames." My stomach dropped. This wasn't about us anymore. It was about something bigger, uglier. Harris ranted about exposing corruption, claiming we were dirty agents selling evidence to cartels. The irony? He was the one working for Ramsey, who'd been feeding him lies to take us out before we could bust his operation. Mike moved to shield Emily, while I locked eyes with Harris, trying to read him. He was no mastermind, just a burned-out ex-cop named Tom Harris, fired for hacking DEA systems, now playing pawn in Ramsey's game. I took a chance, kept my voice steady. "Tom, you're not a terrorist, you're just pissed off. Tell us who's pulling the strings, and we can end this." He hesitated, just long enough for me to know we had a shot. Emily chimed in. "You trained me when I started here, Tom. You're better than this." That hit him hard. You could see it in his eyes, regret, maybe shame. But then the lights cut out, and a high-pitched whine filled the air. Explosives somewhere in the mall. Tom cursed. Ramsey's got a backup detonator. My heart raced, but I grabbed his arm. Help us stop this, Tom. You know where the bombs are. He nodded, shaky, and led us to the security office, typing like a madman to disable the timer. 90 seconds left. Outside, Ramsey appeared, cool as ever, holding a sleek detonator. Nice try, Agent Carter, he sneered, but you're out of moves. I didn't think. Just drew my service weapon and fired 3 shots, clean. Ramsey dropped, his device skittering across the floor. Mike tackled Ramsey's goon before he could grab it. Timer's off, Tom yelled, collapsing in relief. The mall was saved, but the truth was uglier. Ramsey had bribed a DEA deputy director to leak intel, framing us to protect his empire. Months later, I testified in Congress, wearing that sapphire necklace Emily slipped into my hand as we left. It wasn't just jewelry, Anna Maria, it was proof we'd fought and won. Now, sitting with Mike, eating ice cream on the National Mall, I think about what justice really means. It's not just catching the bad guys, it's people like Emily, standing up when it counts. So, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from, and what's a moment you've seen someone fight for what's right? Let's keep this conversation going because stories like these, they're worth telling.